Okay, so we have in mitzvah number 50, we talked about it yesterday, the mitzvah to bring the Musaf offering on Sukkot. And we just looked briefly and saw that when it comes to the Musaf offering of Sukkot, each day there's lots of animals. It is by far the biggest Musaf offering of any holiday, of any day. There's just lots and lots of animals. But part of it is from the cattle. It starts with 13 cows, then it goes to 12, then 11, then 10. And so it gets out of all the offerings, it gets the most real estate. The discussion of it gets the most real estate because you have this changing thing. And yesterday I was pointing out that there seems to be some connections between Sukkot and Hanukkah that are worth exploring. And all right, so then our next one is Shmini Atzeret. He shetziva lahakriv korban musaf b'shmini shel chag. So we have a commandment to bring a musaf offering on the 8th day of Chag. Chag is the term for Sukkot. Very often just called Chag. Chag itself, the word Chag, is the etymology of it. One second, just give me a second here. It has come to mean a pilgrimage holiday. Hence, and the Arabic word Hajj, is the same word, and they use it obviously for their pilgrimage festival. But the actual word itself is the etymology. So I am consulting the tome. Good. Chag, festival, gathering, feast, pilgrim feast. Aramaic also as chaga, as pilgrimage. A special feast. So the first time it comes up, I guess weirdly, is when they're talking about the golden calf. That might be the first time that word comes up. A special feast to the golden calf. Would that be weird if that was the first time that came up? Here, so the thing is, isn't there a meaning of this? The reason I'm looking at this is because there is some meaning of this word that means something like to go around in a circle. Chagag, make a pilgrimage, to keep a pilgrim feast. So there's this thing of like a circle dance or a sacred dance. But I'm trying to see how where it comes from. Even here, they'll quote it as part of their definition that there is a meaning here of this root that has to do with a circle or a circle dance. Celebrated by processions and dancing. There's just the connection between Chag and dancing. It does come up. Anyways, Sukkot is the original Chag. It's often called Chag, just plain Chag, even though it is appropriate to refer to Pesach and Shavuos as Chag. Strictly speaking, if these are talking about pilgrimage festivals, so like today, is it technically appropriate to say Chag Sameach on Yom Ha'atzmaut, for instance? So if you're speaking to an Israeli, I'm going to ask this question. I'm going to go to Chat GPT. I'm not Chat. I'm going to go to Chat here. I don't know why. Is it appropriate to say Chag Sameach?
Searching for appropriate.
No, don't even try that. Don't even do that to me. And just go away.
Appropriate is an obsolete adjective that means appropriated or particular. It is.
Stop responding. Okay. Is it appropriate to say Chag Sameach? Get rid of you. Never mind, Bing. Just going to ask it to Google. Is it appropriate to say Chag Sameach on Yom Ha'atzmaut? Is Yom Ha'atzmaut considered a Chag? I have seen three types of shows. Rabbi Howard Jachter lays out and analyzes a lot of relevant sources on the hollow question. It's worth reading the thing. Rabbi Eliezer Rowski goes into more detail about different philosophical and halachic attitudes. Finally, every few years I have read and brought to tears by the significance of Yom Ha'atzmaut. Chag is a term, depends on how you're using the word. All right, that was them. A lot of times you do get that. What greetings are appropriate on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur? Chag Sameach, Happy Yom Ha'atzmaut. Chag Ha'atzmaut Sameach. That is what I think a lot of people say. Chag Ha'atzmaut Sameach, or Yom Ha'atzmaut Sameach. Chag Sameach might technically not be the right word, and I thought I'd find somebody to talk about it, but they're not. Okay, so the term Chag is appropriate for pilgrimage festivals. Is it appropriate for Hanukkah? Is it appropriate for Rosh Hashanah, which are not pilgrimage festivals? So there might be some sticklers who will tell you, no, it is not appropriate because they are not pilgrimage festivals, and Chag, in its most specific sense, means a pilgrimage festival. All right, so the Musaf for Shmini Atzeres is different. It's not part of the regular series of Musaf from Sukkot, from Sukkot.
Rabbi,
yeah.
is the Musaf sacrifice a Chagiga sacrifice for that? Is that what it's called on those days? No.
No.
Okay.
The Chagiga is a separate offering. The Chagiga is a private offering of an individual.
Oh.
So when an individual approaches the Beis Hamikdash, let's say on Sukkot, you've done your pilgrimage festival. Now on the first day of Sukkot, you're going to come to the Beit HaMikdash. So on that morning, so for the first night of Sukkot was at the night before. The next morning, you walk up to from your hotel in Ir David. You walk up to the Beit HaMikdash with some animals. Two primary animals. One is a whole burnt offering, which is a re'iyah. It's called a olat re'iyah. And then you go with a chagiga. So the chagiga is a peace offering. They are both individual offerings. The musaf is a communal offering. It is paid for by the half shekel tax that was levied against everybody, all heads of household, and collected in Adar, so that it could pay for all the musafs. So they are not a musaf, technically. Okay, so Atzeret is this day is called Shmini. It's the 8th day, so that suggests that it is somehow connected to Sukkot. And then Chag HaAtzeret. So that word, we might as well look that one up also. In modern Hebrew, La'atzor means to stop. Atzeret is a term that's used for this holiday. And also in rabbinic language, it is used for the holiday of Shavuos. It's called.
Isn't it Atzeret HaDibrot?
No, that's with a sin. With a sin. This is a tzadi.
Oh, sorry.
You do not have to apologize for that.
Close.
Yeah, it is close. That's true. So Atzeret, Otzer, Atzara, Atzar. So it can mean an Otzar with an aleph is like a treasure, like a treasure or a library or something like that. Otzar. But that's with an aleph. This is with an ayin.
Sharon remembers her day at Camp Ramah when they had oats there. It was
a treasure because the boys got to walk you back to your cabin.
Yeah, that's Otzar with the aleph. All right, so Atzeret, they translate in the BDB, they translate Atzeret as assembly. But in the sense that you are held in or confined in a place, you've assembled somewhere. That's how they suggest it means an assembly. So the word Otzer, Atzar, Ayin Tzadi Reish, means to restrain or retain something. An Atzeret is a noun, and it means a gathering or an assembly. So if you call it Shmini Chag HaAtzeret, it's the holiday of assembly. So this day has elements that are Sukkot related, but elements that are not Sukkot related. It becomes the subject of a good deal of discussion in the Gemara. What do you do about this day? Do you treat it like a continuation of Sukkot? Is it independent of Sukkot? And as you would expect, it has elements of both. Why is this musaf counted separate? Because the other musafs of Sukkot, he counted as one mitzvah. So why is he counting this as a separate mitzvah? Because we have a midrash. This is actually, when he says midrash, so he means it's darshan, because this is something that's not just discussed in midrash, it's discussed in the Gemara as well. That Shmini Atzeret regel b'fnei atzmo. It is a holiday unto itself. So again, it has elements of Sukkot, and it has elements unique to itself. One of the indications of it is that we say Shechianu again, even though for the like the continuing days of Sukkot, we didn't say Shechianu, we say Shechianu again. Another thing is you don't sit in a sukkah on Shmini Atzeres. The truth is, in Chutz La'aretz, people sit in there because there's a question: is it Shmini Atzeres or is this the last day of Sukkot? But in Israel, you don't sit in a sukkah on Shmini Atzeret because it's clear that Shmini Atzeret is not Sukkot. So there's those kind of differences. All right. Next mitzvah, number 52. He should tzivanu lalos lemikdash shalosh pamim b'shana. We have a mitzvah to go up to the Beit HaMikdash 3 times a year. V'hu amru, and Hashem said, Yitalet, may is he be exalted. Shalosh regalim tachogli b'shana. So celebrate 3 festivals for me during the year. So chog, tachog is now a verb. Before it was a noun, chag. Now it's a verb. So how do you celebrate that holiday? You celebrate it by going up to the Beit HaMikdash. That's what he's saying is the fulfillment of that mitzvah of tachog. Ukvar yispar because of kizo tachagiga. And specifically, the way you fulfill it is by bringing the chagiga offering. Shakomi shiyala bekorban yakriveu. Everybody who goes up at the pilgrimage vessel with an offering brings it. This commandment is given twice. Ulashonam, and the language is, this is the mitzvah in the tractate Chagiga, Shalosh mitzvos noagos beregel. There are 3 mitzvahs during a pilgrimage festival. Chagiga, the bringing of the Chagiga offering. Re'iyah, bringing of the Re'iyah offering, that was the elevation offering. The Simcha, and the last one is Simcha. There actually, you could bring a korban that was a korban for Simcha. Why would you do that? You would do that because, let's say you have a lot of people in your pilgrimage party. Let's say you have 50 people in your pilgrimage party. So you're bringing the animals that you would bring for a chagiga and a re'iyah, but that chagiga, the re'iyah is whole burnt. The chagiga is going to be shared with your family, but it's possible that there's not enough meat in that chagiga to really satisfy everybody. So now you bring something called the shalmei simcha. The shalmei simcha is also a peace offering, and you can bring as many of those as necessary. So the joy at the time of the pilgrimage festivals, the specific activity that would bring joy was the eating of the meat from either the chagiga or the korban simcha. So when it says v'samachta b'chagecha, you should be happy on your holiday, it's referring to the simcha that comes from eating the meat of the chagiga or the shalmei simcha, bringing the simcha offerings. The chagiga zu inyana she'ikarav karban shlamim. The chagiga is brought as a peace offering. Ve'ein hanoshim chayvos bo, and women are not obliged to bring it. They are going to eat it, but they don't have to bring it. So technically, they're there, like the whole family came for the pilgrimage festival, but who has to go up on that first morning with the animals in order to get them sacrificed and then brought back to cook them so that you can eat them on Yom Tov? That is the men. The women are going to eat it, but the men are the ones who are obliged to actually bring it. So the next one is what we call the korban re'iyah. He should tzivanu laharos b'regalim. This is the command to appear at the festivals. the three festivals. Vu Amru, God said, Yisala, may he be exalted. Shalosh Pamim B'Shana Yera Kol Zchurcha. 3 times a year, all your males shall appear. V'inyan zos mitzvah sheyala adon mikdash im kol ben zachar sheyelo sheyuchal aleches baraglo. So this mitzvah is to go up to the Beis Hamikdash. This includes every male in the family. Sheyelo sheyuchal aleches baraglo, that can walk with his feet. Yakriv korban ola b'riyaso v'anikra olas riyah. So, and then you would bring the korban ola, this elevation offering, and that's called the elevation offering for appearing. So it's like your cover charge for coming in. Ukvar kadam lanu amram shalosh mitzvahs, as we said before. There are 3 mitzvahs. So we had the chagiga, was that it said before, tachoguli, that was the korban chagiga. And now we have the mitzvah of appearing, which is going to be specifically expressed through a korban re'iyah, the korban for appearing. Ukvar hisbaro mishpatei mitzvah zu. These laws have already been clarified. Rotzalomar mitzvahs re'iyah b'meseches chagiga. And what I mean by that is the mitzvah of the korban re'iyah, and it is mentioned in chagiga. And again, there's really 2 parts to this. There's that you are supposed to show yourself in the Beis Hamikdash, which means to appear in the courtyard. Everybody who can appear in the courtyard must appear in the courtyard, and then when you appear, you must bring a korban re'iyah.
Rabbi,
Yeah.
when you say to bring, just to make sure, a korban, you're talking about like a goat or a lamb?
I think the re'iyah is a lamb, but let me just see for sure. It might
I
be.
mean, this is a function of what you can afford. I mean, if you can't afford it, you can go to the bird or whatever.
Now, this one doesn't seem to have, there's certain offerings that you do get those options. I just have to see, how am I gonna?
Because you keep saying korban, I didn't know if it's, based on
It's
what
animal.
you earn.
Let's see.
Because if you don't have like lambs and stuff, I mean, what do you use? You use birds?
No, I think you have to use I don't think you get a bird option for this. You don't actually have to have it on you. I mean, there were people apparently that would provide it. The ones where there's like where you get different options, those are like sin offerings and stuff like that. Trouble is spelling the word re'iyah. I thought I spelled it right. But, all right, it's either a calf or a goat or a lamb. I don't remember which one. And I'm fairly certain that you have to bring one of those. That you can't bring a bird for that.
Rabbi, when you
Yeah.
just said that, they will provide it, does that mean you pay for it? And it just
Yeah.
reminded me of why there were money changers in the
Yes.
temple, why they talked
Is
about
why.
that. Yeah.
That is why. Yeah, exactly.
What does that mean? That somebody in the temple
Well,
will what?
before near the Beit Hamikdash, there's going to be people selling goats and sheep because not everybody's going to have them to bring. So
Right.
you'd buy them from somebody there. So
I
you'd
got it.
bring money, but you let's say you have to pay for it. Maybe you have to pay cash for it. So how are you going to get cash? You're going to have to go to money changers. That's why why were there money changers in the Beis Hamikdash? There were money changers because there were people coming to buy korbanos because they didn't have them. Now, I don't know exactly where they were situated, but they're somewhere in there for that reason. Okay, and now we have the mitzvah of joy, the samachta b'chagecha. Who he should sivan lismach b'regolim. This is the command to be happy on the pilgrimage festivals. V'hu amru yisalev v'samachta b'chagecha, as God had said, you should be happy on your chag. V'hi mitzvah shlishis mina shalosh mitzvahs shano haggis b'regel. As we mentioned before, there are 3 primary mitzvahs. Each one of them is related to an offering. Mitzvah number 1 is to make it a chag. Mitzvah number 2 is to go up and be seen. Mitzvah number 3 is to be happy. But each one has a corresponding sacrifice. The chagiga, the re'iyah, which are the 2 we've already talked about, and now the simcha. The mitzvah shlishis min hashalosh. This is the 3rd of the mitzvahs that we talked about. V'inyan harishon haramus et eleinu b'tzivu zehu shenakriv korban shlamim al kol panim. So the first matter that's indicated by this mitzvah is that you need to bring at least a peace offering. And this is in addition to the peace offering of the chagiga, the hein nikraim b'talmud shalmei simcha, and the Talmud calls these peace offerings of simcha. This one is a mitzvah that women are supposed to be a part of, the shlamim offering. That now, again, they don't necessarily have to be present, but they would have to be part of the bringing of the korban simcha. The verse said, and you shall slaughter the peace offerings. Also, the laws of this one are mentioned in chagiga. And in general, they said, when it says that you shall be joyous on your holiday, Masher Amru Gamke, Lismoach B'mine Simcha. In other words, it's not just bringing this korban simcha, but also finding other ways of having joy. Umazeh, and what would that be? Lechol basar v'lishtos yain v'lilbosh begadim chadashim. Eating meat, drinking wine, wearing new clothing. Ulechanik mine peiros and mine masika l'ktanim l'noshim, and to hand out fruit and sweets to children and women, the lischok b'chol nigun, and to lischok, to be joyous with song, ulurkod b'mikdash, and to dance in the base of mikdash. This is 2 days in a row. We have dancing as an expression of joy. Vihi simchas beis shoeva, and that is specifically the simchas beis shoeva. So what we call simchas beis shoeva, which is the joy of the water drawing, or the house of the water drawing, that is part of the fulfillment of the mitzvah of v'samachta b'chagecha. You shall be joyous on your holiday. All of that is under the heading, you shall be joyous on your holiday. Now the focus has mainly been on drinking wine. Now that is the area which gets the most attention, and that's because it's very much connected to simcha. And this was
Rabbi?
Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, when you've been talking about this, the first thing that came to my mind was about the Nazir. For some reason, and it may have nothing to do with this at all. But I mean, how can a Nazir go and do Is a Nazir able to be involved in a simcha as long as he doesn't drink wine?
Yeah, but he's not mourning. He's just not allowed to drink wine. But you see from here that, according to the Rambam, that the main vehicle that we have available to us nowadays for getting to this place of simcha is wine. Obviously, in a time where people have misused wine and wine's not healthy, then it wouldn't be healthy for them to do it. But he is suggesting that wine is a key path to this kind of joy. We'll talk about this joy on Monday. As we continue this, we'll talk about why that is. Why is it that the wine is the one that will get you there? We talked about this before Pesach, David was asking, like, how much wine do you need to drink for the first cup? Because there's some people who say that for the first cup of the 4 cups, the one that you say Kiddush on, you should try to drink the whole cup. So, how does that work? Like, how much of the cups are you supposed to be drinking, and why would that one be different? And so this subject came up, which is that part of the goal when you're drinking wine is to feel the effects of the wine, not to be drunk per se, but to feel that kind of expansive kind of feeling that you get when you drink wine. All right, but
It's
we'll
funny
talk-
because most of the holidays, I can't think of anybody who limits themselves. Like you pour them, people get drunk, and
Right. Right,
even
Purim is an extreme when it comes to this, but the other holidays, even Shabbos, Kiddush, you're supposed to. It seems to be part of the design that you're supposed to be feeling a kind of joy that wine helps you get to. But again,
Okay.
if it's not healthy, obviously it's not good to go there. All right, we will continue this. I look forward to that on Monday. I'm very grateful.
Wait,
guys.
please. I just have one question.
Wait a minute.
Hello?
Yes.
One question and one comment. First of all, on Pesach, am I allowed to drink extra cups of wine between the second and third?
You are definitely allowed to drink between. Yes, you are. In fact, let's leave that. Remember that question, and we'll look at it specifically.
Okay.
We had that
Okay.
question that came up about why you don't say the after blessing
Right.
on after the first one. Why don't you say that after blessing? So there was when I was looking it up, it said Rabbi Yoshev did it short, right? We saw that he made it less than an hour between the first and second cup. But we saw somewhere else where somebody drank in between, and that was his way of keeping it, right? Which was questioned.
Right.
Right.
Oh, so that's the
Right.
precedent.
He did that. Yeah, but let's see. Let's look that up again. We'll do
Okay, and then the curious comment is when we say the first thing we say, Ela Davarim, Shane Shiur. What's the second one? Aryon.
Hapeava bikurim v'harei ayon. Yeah. So there's not a limit. You could bring more, but you can't bring. Yes.
But
Korban Riyah.
like
Right.
one of the interpretations of that that there's, which goes to the other point that was just made, that there is it may be that there's no minimal value
Right.
as to
Right.
what counts as, or when they say that there's no limit, does that mean
No, but it still has to be in the animal though, because that's the Gemara and Chagiga. It's just how much. Like the question is, should you spend more on the Re'iyah or should you spend more on the Chagiga? If you have limited funds and you have to buy 2 animals, so the Gemara and Chagiga asks which one should you be spending more money on? Because the Re'iyah is wholly burnt and it's just offered to God. The Chagiga is shared with people, so maybe you should be spending more money on the Chagiga because that way more people can partake of it, or there's more for the people to partake. Or maybe you should spend it on the Re'iyah because that shows your subservience to God. But they're all talking about, like there's a Machlokas Hill and Shammai there, but they're all talking about an animal. It's just how much do you spend for the animal?
Yep, right. Okay.
But they're not offering the option of bringing a bird.
No, I understand that, but
Right.
you might
Right.
that it doesn't have to be the choice of the.
Well, but that is actually a Machlokas about whether it should be, because obviously you have Kain, that thing about Kain, and Hevel, that
Right,
you should
right.
try to bring a choice one, but that has to be okay. We can look at that too.
Wait,
That's good.
Rabbi, just
Yeah.
because this is Yom HaTzmaut,
Yeah.
when you were asking about the, whether it's a Chag, I was putting in something too, and there and
what's your point?
Miodea about that, and
Yeah, so
Miodea, it's a discussion about whether you say Hallel on Yom HaTzmaut, and there's
Right.
a little discussion by Rabbi Yachter, I guess, about you say it without a blessing, and then a
Right.
discussion.
That's
of
what we
other
did in
things.
our shul. That's what we
Ah.
did.
Yeah,
Ravarin
Okay.
Soloveitchik was of that opinion. And so that's what we did at Brisk Yeshiva, and that's what we did at our show. We said, we say full halal, but without a blessing.
interesting. Yeah,
Yeah, it's a
okay.
weird-
Well,
yeah.
happy Yom
Happy Yom Ha'atzmaut.
Sameach. Right, right.
Chag Ha'atzmaut
Right.
Sameach, or Yom Ha'atzmaut Sameach.
Rabbi,
Yeah.
do you ever listen to the what's the name of the guy, Sharon? The Rabbi Soloveitchik, is that it?
Mayor.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do you
it is.
listen to his talks?
I do. I haven't listened to it in the last couple weeks, but I do, yes.
Because right now he's talking about the last few days about Yom HaAtzmaut. So it's been very interesting about the, becoming the state of it, the origin of the state of Israel. So you may
All
want
right,
to look
I
at
will-
that
I
because
will.
it's interesting, but
I will.
the people he talks about that form that. All right, just to let you know.
All right, cool.
right.
Thank you. All right.
Bye-bye.
Be well, guys. All right, bye-bye.
All right.